Have you ever opened your mailbox, checked your email, or answered your phone and realized a bank account exists in your name that you never opened? Because if that happens, the panic starts in seconds, but the damage can keep spreading for weeks before you even understand how bad it is. And before we go deeper, hit like, subscribe, and share this video with one person who still thinks identity theft only happens to someone else. Most people think bank scams look obvious. They picture a fake text, a sketchy phone call, or some stranger asking for a password. But this one feels different. It feels clean, quiet, legal even. There is no dramatic warning siren, no masked person, no smashed window. Your name, your address, maybe your social security number, and suddenly an account is open somewhere you have never even banked before. That is what makes this kind of fraud so dangerous. It does not begin with money leaving your main account. It begins with your identity being used like a tool. A scammer does not need to rob your wallet in person if they can borrow your name from a data leak, steal a letter from a mailbox, break into an old email account, or trick you into typing your details into the wrong site. Once they have enough pieces, they start building a version of you that is fake, but convincing enough for a system to accept. And here is the part that scares people the most. Sometimes the first sign is not a missing dollar. It is a letter from a bank you do not use, a phone alert for a product you never asked for, a denial for a loan you never tried to get, or a message saying your identity needs to be verified for an account that should not even exist. In other words, by the time you notice the smoke, the fire may already be in a different room. That is why this video matters. I do not want you to hear this story and think, wow, that is crazy. I want you to hear it and understand exactly how this scam works, why it keeps spreading, what mistakes make it worse, and what to do in the first hour if your name gets pulled into it. So let's start with the emotional trap. Most victims lose time before they lose money, not because they are careless, but because they are confused. When something weird shows up under your name, your first thought is usually, there has to be some mistake. Maybe it is junk mail. Maybe it is marketing. Maybe someone typed the wrong address. Maybe it is not serious. That small moment of doubt is where scammers win. They do not always need you to believe them. Sometimes they only need you to hesitate. Imagine getting a letter from a bank you never joined. It says there is activity on an account. Maybe it thanks you for opening a new checking account. Maybe it tells you to verify recent transactions. Maybe it warns you about suspicious activity. At first, your brain tries to calm you down. This must be an error. Then you call, and the person on the phone says the words nobody wants to hear. Yes, there are accounts under your name. That is the moment the problem changes shape. Now you are no longer just reading a strange letter. You are standing in the middle of identity theft. And identity theft is not one clean event. It is often a chain. One account can lead to another. A checking account can become a place for fake deposits, bounce checks, transfers, or even loan applications. Your identity becomes the front door. The scammer is testing how many rooms they can get into before someone locks the house. This is why people underestimate unauthorized bank accounts. Credit card fraud sounds serious. A stolen debit card sounds serious. But a bank account opened in your name can create a different kind of mess. It can connect your name to activity you did not approve. It can affect future bank relationships. It can trigger more verification problems. It can be used to move money in ways that make institutions look at you first and ask questions later. Now think about how a scammer gets there. Not usually with one giant Hollywood-style hack, more often with scraps. Your full name from one place, your old address from another, your date of birth from a breach, your phone number from a leaked database, a partial social security number from a form, an email from an old shopping account, a password you reused 3 years ago, one phishing message on a tired afternoon, one piece of mail left in the box too long. Piece by piece, the profile forms. And scammers are patient in a way most normal people are not. They are not living inside your routine. You are. You're paying bills, answering work messages, helping your family, trying to sleep, trying to keep up. They only have one job. Look for enough information to make a system say yes. That is why smart people still get caught in dumb situations. This is not about intelligence. It is about exposure. A lot of people ask, why would someone open a bank account in my name if they cannot control my real money? Because a fresh account under a real identity is useful. It can be used to receive fraudulent deposits. It can be used to move stolen funds. It can be linked to payment apps. It can be used to create a trail that points back to you instead of the criminal. And once a scammer learns your identity works with one institution, they may try another, then another. That is also why the scam can feel invisible at first. Your main bank app looks normal. Your paycheck still lands where it should. Your debit card still works. So your brain says, maybe this is not urgent. But that is exactly why it is urgent. A fake account does not need to touch your daily wallet to damage your financial life. It only needs to exist long enough to be used. And let's talk about the second trap, because this one frustrates victims even more than the scam itself. The runaround. You call the bank, The bank tells you to go to the branch. The branch tells you to call the fraud team. The fraud team asks for the account number. You say you do not have it because you never opened the account. Then someone asks for more personal information before they help you fix a problem created by someone who already misused your personal information. Now your stress turns into anger. This is where many people start making emotional mistakes. They get overwhelmed. They stop taking notes. They assume the bank will sort it out eventually. They put off filing a report because they are tired. They freeze one thing but forget another, or they spend all their energy trying to prove they are innocent instead of building a record that protects them. Here's the mindset you need instead. The minute you learn that an unauthorized account may exist in your name, stop treating it like a weird inconvenience. Treat it like a formal identity theft case. That language matters, not just emotionally, but practically. You're not calling to say something strange happened. You are reporting unauthorized accounts and possible identity theft. Clear words create clear action. The first move is simple, but people still get it wrong all the time. Contact the bank using information you know is real, not a number from a random text, not a link inside an email, not a callback number you have not verified. Go to the official website. Use the app you already trust. Find the fraud contact there. Then say exactly what happened. There are accounts in my name that I did not authorize. I need them frozen, investigated, and closed. Notice the structure there. Not maybe, not I think, not this seems odd. Frozen, investigated, closed, calm, direct, documented. Then ask for a case number. If they give you, write it down. If they give you a name, write it down. If they transfer you, note the time. If they promise a callback, note it. If they tell you to visit a branch, go if you can, but keep your own record. Never assume the institution system is the same thing as your protection. Your notes are part of your defense. If this video is helping you think 2 steps ahead, give it a like, subscribe for more protection breakdowns, and send it to your family group chat before someone learns this lesson the hard way. This is especially important because identity theft recovery is rarely one conversation. It is usually a sequence: a bank call, a branch visit, a follow-up email, a fraud form, a credit bureau action, a report, maybe a complaint, maybe another account you discover later. The people who recover fastest are often not the people who panic least. They are the people who document best. Now let's get into the protection steps most viewers never hear about until after something goes wrong. Everyone talks about credit reports. Fewer people talk about deposit account screening systems. That matters because not every fraudulent financial account shows up the same way. A credit freeze is powerful, and official consumer guidance is clear about what it does. It can make it much harder for someone to open a new credit account in your name. It is free, and you do not need to wait until after your identity has been stolen to use it. But a credit freeze is not magic. It does not shut down every kind of fraud in every system. It is a wall for new credit. It is not a universal shield for every bank-related problem. That is where people get a false sense of safety. They freeze credit and think the whole problem is solved. But checking and savings accounts can involve different reporting systems. So if the fraud involves new deposit accounts, you also need to think beyond the big 3 credit bureaus. This is where people start hearing a name they wish they had known earlier: checks systems. Many banks use deposit account reporting systems when someone tries to open a checking or savings account. A security freeze. There can help stop information in that file from being released without your authorization, which can make unauthorized account opening harder. It is one of those steps that sounds boring until the day it matters. And on that day, it matters a lot. So if someone opened an account in your name, or even tried to, you should not only review your credit reports. You should also think about whether your deposit account file needs attention, because the scammer may not be chasing a credit card first. They may be chasing a bank account, a payment route, a short-term launch point. Now let's pull back for a second and talk about the real engine behind this scam: fear and friction. The scammer creates the first, the system creates the second. You feel fear because your name is being used. Then you hit friction because fixing it takes calls, forms, holds, verification, and patience. That combination is deadly. Fear makes people rush. Friction makes people give up. And scammers benefit from both. So your goal is to slow your emotions down without slowing your actions down. That sounds minor, but it changes everything. You do not need drama, you need order. First, secure the bank situation. Second, report the identity theft. Third, protect your credit. Fourth, protect any deposit account screening file that may be relevant. Fifth, review your reports and accounts for anything else tied to your name. Sixth, secure the weak points that may have let the scam begin, especially email, passwords, and your phone number. And yes, your email matters more than most people realize. For many people, email is the control center of their financial life. If someone gets into it, they can search old messages, find bank names, trigger password resets, locate tax forms, learn where you shop, and build a detailed map of your identity. That means strong. Passwords and two-factor authentication are not optional extras anymore. They are survival tools. The same goes for text messages and phone calls. A scam does not always begin when an account gets opened. Sometimes it begins weeks earlier when you receive a message that says your bank detected suspicious activity and you need to verify now. You tap the link because it feels urgent. The site looks real enough, the logo is there, the colors look right. You enter your username, maybe your password, maybe the last 4 digits of something important. And without realizing it, you just handed over the missing piece. Other times, the scam begins in your mailbox. People laugh at mail theft because it sounds old-fashioned. But criminals do not care whether the method feels modern. If a piece of paper helps them confirm your name, address, or account relationship, they will use it. Pre-approved offers, tax mail, medical statements, insurance letters, bank notices, all of it can become useful in the wrong hands. So what are the warning signs before things explode? Mail from institutions you do not recognize. Calls about accounts you never opened. Small verification messages you did not trigger. New inquiries on your credit reports. A sudden stop in expected mail. Password reset emails you did not request. A lender denying you for something you never applied for. These signs do not prove the same exact scam every time, but they all deserve attention. And here is one of the most important truth shifts in this whole video. Prevention is not just about hiding. It is about reducing open doors. You may not be able to stop every data breach. You may not be able to control every company that stores your information, but you can lower the number of easy ways your identity gets weaponized. Freeze credit if you're not actively applying for something. Be careful with mail. Use different passwords. Protect your email. Verify requests independently. Do not let urgency choose for you. Now let's talk about the mistake that can cost you the most after discovery. Assuming the problem ends when one account closes. That is relief talking, not strategy. If a criminal had enough information to open one account, there's always a chance they tried somewhere else, will try later, or sold your information to someone else. Identity theft is not always one thief using one name one time. Sometimes it becomes an asset that keeps circulating. That is why the end of the visible problem is not the end of the problem. You need to look for connected damage, check for loan attempts, check for new cards, check for unfamiliar phone numbers or addresses tied to your credit file. Watch your existing bank and payment app alerts. Change passwords connected to finance first, then email, then anything else that could lead back to those systems. If the institution keeps pushing you around, escalate. Stay respectful, but stop being passive. Ask for the fraud department. Ask for a supervisor. Ask how the case is being documented. Ask what written confirmation you will receive. Ask what happens next. If you have to file a formal complaint with a consumer agency because the response is failing, do it. Complaints exist for a reason. Sometimes the fastest way to be heard is to create a trail that someone outside the first phone call can see. And I want to say something here that a lot of victims need to hear. You are not difficult for being persistent. You are not overreacting for asking questions. You are not the problem because you cannot provide an account number for an account you never opened. Fraud systems are supposed to deal with situations like this. If the process is messy, that is not proof that your case is weak. It is proof that recovery often requires pressure. Now imagine 2 versions of the same person. The first one gets a strange letter, feels uneasy, puts it aside, plans to deal with it on the weekend, and hopes it is nothing. The second one verifies the bank contact, reports identity theft clearly, gets records, freezes what needs to be frozen, checks reports, secures email, and keeps following through until written confirmation arrives. Same scam, very different outcome. That is the deeper lesson here. This story is not only about fraud, it is about response speed under uncertainty. The people who limit damage are rarely the people who know everything. They are the people who act before comfort returns. They do not wait to feel certain. They move because uncertainty itself is the warning. So if you want a practical checklist in your head, remember this sequence. Verify the bank. Report the unauthorized account clearly. Get documentation. File an identity theft report. Freeze credit if needed. Think about deposit account protections too. Review your reports. Secure your email and passwords. Watch for connected fraud. Escalate when the process stalls. Do not stop at the first sign of relief. And do not miss the emotional side, because scammers depend on that more than people think. Shame keeps people quiet. Confusion keeps people slow. Exhaustion keeps people from finishing the process. Some victims feel embarrassed, like they should have seen it coming. But many do not click anything. Many do not do anything reckless. Their information may come from old breaches, old leaks, old accounts, or stolen mail. This can happen to careful people. The goal is not to feel foolish. The goal is to recover fast. Quick reset before we finish strong. If you want simple explanations that can actually protect your money, tap subscribe, like the video, and share it with someone who would never see this scam coming until it is already personal. That is why I call this a spreading scam. Not because one exact text message is going viral, but because the conditions that feed it are everywhere. Huge data leaks, reused passwords, busy lives, weak mail security, polished phishing pages, systems built for convenience, institutions that want speed when opening accounts and caution only after something goes wrong. All of that creates the perfect climate for identity abuse. And the cruel thing about climate is you usually notice it after you are already standing in it. So let this be the moment you get ahead of it. Not later tonight, not next month. Not after a denial letter, right now. Ask yourself a few plain questions. Is my credit frozen if I am not applying for something? Are my email passwords strong and different? Do I use two-factor authentication? Would I recognize a fake bank message under pressure? Do I leave sensitive mail sitting around? If a bank account appeared in my name tomorrow, would I know the first 3 things to do? If the answer to any of those is no, that does not mean panic. It means prepare. Because this scam steals more than information. It steals time. It steals peace. It steals confidence. It drags people into paperwork, phone calls, and stress they never asked for. And the reason I wanted to make this video is simple. Most people do not need more fear. They need direction. So here is the map one last time. Take strange bank mail seriously. Verify every contact point yourself. Use the words unauthorized account and identity theft. Build your own paper trail. Protect both credit and deposit account pathways. Lock down your email like it controls your life, because in many ways it does. And if your name gets pulled into a scam you did not create, do not let delay become the second crime. Your name is not just a label. In the wrong hands, it becomes a key. And the longer you assume nobody is trying the lock, the easier it is for someone else to walk through the door. So stay alert, stay organized, and stay harder to use. Because the next victim is not the most careless person. It is the next person who thought they had more time.